What's going on, people? Thank you for tuning in to the MMA Podcast. It is the 106th episode. October 8th, 2014, we got a bit to break down. We had two UFC cards this past Saturday. We had one in Stockholm, Sweden, where we saw Gunnar Nelson take on Rick Story in the main event. Another one later on in the night in Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada, where we saw Rory McDonald really put his flag in the sand, saying he wants a title shot. Going to be talking about that fight and the rest of the card. Also, a bunch to break down this week. A few fight announcements. We'll talk about the Google Me Bitch, Cody Gibson bar fight. Is Brock Lesnar going to come back? We're going to talk about Chael and JR and Battlegrounds MMA. Keith Barry with a Bellator win. Let's do it, people.
You're listening to the MMA Podcast.
That's right, Lenny Hart. It is the MMA Podcast, just about as generic of a name as it can get. But you know what? I squatted on that website in 2010, and I'll be squatting on it for another 4, 8, 16, I don't know how many years, but we're going to keep on going strong. This is the 106th episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. You can visit us at themmapodcast.com. Follow us on Twitter at the MMA Podcast. If you visit themmapodcast.com, just click the tabs at the top, iTunes and YouTube. Check out our show. Check out The Word on the Street. Speaking of the Word on the Street, you know, he is the co-host. He is the host of The Word on the Street. He's on Twitter at the Aunt Jimmy Show. He has turned into a regular staple of this show. Ramses, give it to the people.
Jake from the MMA Podcast. It is once again an honor for you to have me on your show. And I'm glad to be here. I just want to let everybody out there know the truth about MMA, the rumors, the news before it gets reported, the secret conspiracies that go on in our favorite sport. Because as even Mike Straka admitted, it's not just sport, it's also entertainment. He gave it away right there. You have to look deep to find the answers, but that's what I'm here to provide. The answers, aka the word on the street.
We got a lot to break down, including Josh Berkman's tweet, sort of, hinting at a work. Ben Askren called him out on it. We will be touching on that. But first, we usually started off with breaking down the past weekend's UFC cards. Unfortunately, we don't have a card to break down this coming weekend or the weekend after that. The next card is going to be October 25th, UFC 179, Aldo versus Mendez 2. That's going to be a hell of a fight. But until we get to that point, we got some fights to break down this past weekend. The first card that came on pretty early for us in the United States because it was going on in Stockholm, Sweden. UFC Fight Night, Nelson versus Story was on UFC Fight Pass, the whole card. We had 7 fights on the prelims instead of breaking every single one down. If you want to find out the results, you obviously have the internet if you're listening to us, so look that shit up on Wikipedia, cocksucker. The main card, though, 4 fights. All of them were actually pretty fun. The first one, a featherweight fight, Mike Wilkinson knocking out Nicholas Backstrom, and what was an upset in the first round, Wilkinson earning $50,000, alongside Max Holloway, who in the co-main event, also at 145 pounds, defeated Akira Corsani via KO. Also in the first round, Holloway, one of these underrated guys, you know, featherweight, lightweight, and welterweight are all so fucking stacked. And Max, you know, I'm not sure if he's top 10, but he's definitely top 20. He's definitely underrated as hell. He gave Conor his stiffest test yet, and Conor's fought now some, you know, pretty decent names at featherweight. So Max, I'm very interested to see who the UFC puts him up against next. And at 205, we had Jan Blachowicz defeating Ilir Latifi in what was another upset, another first round finish. TKO had a body kick, finished it up with punches, and Iller looked really good. His last couple of fights looked like a absolute wrecking ball, finishing people, but Jan Blachowicz was on the other side of the wrecking, finishing him within 2 minutes. The first 3 fights of this main card all went pretty quick. Wilkinson winning in a minute 19 via KO. Jan Blachowicz winning via TKO a minute 58 in, and like I said, Max Holloway with that win against Corsani 3 minutes and 11 seconds into the first round. The main event went longer, way longer than all 3 of those fights combined. It went a full 15 minutes, and we saw Rick Story take the split decision win against Gunnar Nelson. A lot of times in a split, the guy who doesn't really win the fight comes out with the judge's nod, but luckily, I think Story won it here, earned the victory. Kind of odd scoring. Someone scored it. One of the 3 judges scored it to Gunnar Nelson, 48-47. The other 2 judges scored it 49-46. Another judge scored it 50-44, which is sort of wild that one judge will score it 5-0 Story and actually give one of the rounds a 10-8, and another judge actually gives the fight to Gunnar Nelson, but the fight goes the full 25 minutes. Story takes it. This is another weight class at 170 that is so stacked. Oh my God. Our boy Justice for Anthony Cumia tweeted in, it's 25 minutes, not 15. Actually, I caught myself saying it, but I didn't want to backtrack because I was on a roll. But yeah, it was a 25-minute fight. Rick fucking Story, man. This dude is, like I've said a million times, he is an absolute brick. This actually was his second 5-round fight and his first one since all the way back in 08 when he wasn't even in the UFC yet. But his first 5-rounder looked really good. He beat Gunnar Nelson. I don't know if this really cracks him into the top 10 because, like I said, welterweight is so stacked. He has losses to guys like Kelvin Gastelum, Mike Pyle, Damian Maia. But, man, all of those fights were splits, not the Maia fight, but the fights to Mike Pyle and Kelvin Gastelum, split decision losses. So I definitely think, beating Gunnar Nelson, who a lot of people were saying was going to be the guy at 170 in a few years, was deadly on the ground, had these crazy subs, was unstoppable on the mat. Story stopped him, and I'm interested to see who he gets next. Enough with me yammering my ass off. Ramses, what did you think? What stood out? Rick Story with the upset against the Swede. Is he Swedish? Is he Finnish? He's from Iceland. Yeah, I fucking knew that. What do you call someone from Iceland? The Icelander? I don't fucking know. Take it away, cocksucker.
He's Ices, dude. No, man. This card actually, it tore at my heartstrings. Now that I'm thinking back on it. I had a couple solid bets, what I thought were solid bets. I put money down on Gunnar Nelson. I thought he was going to pull it off. I thought this Rick Story was just an easy set him up. I honestly thought, it was just a gimme fight, a tune-up fight for Gunnar. Instead, he embarrassed himself. He humiliated his country, himself, his people, his trainers, anyone that has anything to do with him. And but the only solace I took in this card was Max Holloway, of course. I laid down some coin on that young man, and that's never a bad bet. I think he's one of my top favorite fighters. Me and him had a little beef a while back, but that got patched up. So it was good making some money off of him. But then I lost it all on Patrick Houlihan,
the Irishman.
Yeah, that was a big upset for me, man. I thought that was I thought that was money in the bank, and that threw off all the money I fucking won on Max Holloway. So after that, I was dejected by this whole entire event. But yeah, Gunnar Nelson, his hype is dead. Patrick Houlihan's hype is also dead. And honestly, I suspect
he actually fought on the Halifax card later that night. But yeah, I guess you won all the cash during the early card and lost it during the late card.
I can't keep track of what country these people are from or what card, but it was all on the same day. All right. Listen, moving on. Patrick Milligan sucked. He let me down. So did Gunnar Nelson. I lost a lot of money. Is the bottom line. That's what I'm trying to convey.
You never bet against Rick Story. You never know when Story beat fucking Johnny Hendricks. You never know when he's gonna pull off some shit.
Rick's story went off script, and I don't buy it. I don't know what's going on with this Gunnar, but his hype is dead. The UFC doesn't want another foreign guy with anything approaching red hair. They don't want to confuse or spread out Conor McGregor's hype. They want to keep one just foreign guy over there, keep him under control.
Yeah, Gunnar actually trains at the same gym as Conor over at SPG Ireland.
And with Hooligan, that's what I'm saying. These guys were set up. It's all over. They only want one star coming out of there. It's Conor McGregor, and it cost me a shitload of money, and that's what I think about this card.
And unfortunately, our buddy the Swede from Team Darkside, Tortrong, also took a loss during the card. But let's pass it over to David Allen, UFC European Marketing and Communications Director. We'll play the post-fight press conference highlights, and he'll break down all the stats and facts for you.
Fight of the night: Dennis Seaver versus Charles Russell. And performance of the night goes to Mike Wilkinson and Max Holloway.
And then we pass it over to Rick Story, who took that upset win against Gunnar Nelson in the main event.
Being able to, go out there and put on this fight against Gunnar and win, it's a good feeling. But, my hat's off to Gunnar. He put on a great show.
And then over to Max Holloway with that first round KO in the co-main event.
A little faster than I thought he would be, and he caught me with some overhands, but nothing that really hurt me. It was frustrating. I was honoring his takedown too much. I thought he really was gonna try and take me down early and fast and hold me there, but he wanted to stand and he kept standing, and the fight ended the way it ended.
Holloway taking $50,000 for that win against Akira Corsani. Also with a $50,000 bonus, Mike Wilkinson, who beat Nicholas Backstrom.
And I knew tonight was the night. I visioned it already. I could see it happening, and I'm just made up with the win. Getting back on track now. Small steps, climb mountains, and I'm climbing that ladder.
And then we'll pass it back to Rick Story to finish up the highlights.
I really do think that I'm in the right place, and I have the motivation to go in. There's no sense in training in this sport and doing it, fighting at this level if I'm not going for the world title. So my goal is to be the world champion, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to get there.
And you know what? A lot of people might not believe him, but the guy's got a win against the champ, Johnny Hendricks. So I don't know. He's not the youngest guy at 170. He's a flat 30, but man, he's definitely still got a good 5-6 years in the gas tank. Shout out to Spilled Bag, sorry, that wasn't Spilled Bag of Ice. It was Redneck Trucker Hat, saying that he's glad that we've made the podcast handicap accessible so Ramses can make it on the show. We'll get into that next week. Things have been released, documents, eyewitness accounts. Ramses, are you willing to speak on the wheelchair thing before the full reveal tomorrow night on the Word on the Street?
I just want to say that I appreciate the tweet from Redneck Trucker Hat, and
he just deleted the tweet though.
Tomorrow. Well, I saw it, and all I'm going to say right now is thanks, man. Thanks, bro. Word.
Shout out. Word on the Street. We'll move to the other card that went on UFC Halifax. Rory McDonald taking on Tarek Saffiedine. I don't know if you can say the main card was as exciting because 4 of the 6 cards went to a decision, but it was still a fun card. Darren Cruikshank, our boy, he's been on the show multiple times, defeating Anthony Njokuani on the prelims. A lot of success from the Tough Nations Canada guys. Olivier Aubin-Mercier winning via second round submission. Elias Thurido winning via unanimous decision. Chad Laprice, the other Tough Nations winner, winning via unanimous decision. Rafael Asunciao beating down Brian Caraway via 30-27 unanimous decision. I'm curious if they make that Caraway versus Gambarian fight next, because Manny called him out after that win against Cody Gibson. Mitch Gagnon defeating Roman Salazar via first round rear naked choke, and Nordine Taleb defeating Li Jingliang. Really the fight everyone was talking about, though. Rory McDonald, it seems as if he's earned himself a title shot, defeating Tarek Saffiedine in the third round, a minute 28 in, dropped Tarek with some impressive hands, finished him. The guy took a loss against Robbie Lawler last November. Since then, he has looked excellent. He beat Damian Maia via it did win fight of the night, but it was a very one-sided affair. Even more one-sided in the fight against Tyron Woodley at UFC 174. Just frankly embarrassed him with that jab. And the win against Tarek makes it 3 wins in a row. He's 8-1 in his last 11 fights since losing to Carlos Condit at UFC 115. The only loss coming via split decision to Robbie Lawler at UFC 167 in Las Vegas. The guy has earned a title shot. We'll talk a little bit later on whether, he should get it and what his chances look like against Robbie and or Johnny. But what did you think of the card? Obviously, Rory standing out as the big story here, earning himself a title shot in what might be the most stacked division in the UFC.
Yeah. The fight was boring. I'm sorry, the Rory fight versus Saffiedine, I didn't find it appealing at all. I was drifting in and out, fading. The fight was a work, people. Dozing off. It was an easy setup. This was a gimme fight. It was a tune-up. All right. Tarek was exactly who Rory thought he was, and he didn't get let off the hook. He is a faggot. Well, that's a very distinct possibility. This card, faggot, wasn't terribly impressive, of course, except for Cruikshank. God bless him, our hero, Darren, friend of mine, personal friend of mine. Shout out. Other than that, no. This card did nothing for me. I don't buy the Rory McDonald hype train. I didn't see anything impressive in this fight. Saffiedine, it was obvious when his wife was trying to hunt him down on Twitter earlier that day. Everybody knew the fix was in. Something fucked up was happening. They did something to him. Some sort of fuckery went down. And they set this up real nice and easy for the kid, Rory McDonald. And that's the bottom line.
What did you think about Brian Caraway?
Dickless. Let me tell you something. If Brian Caraway was taking care of business, I'd be out of it. You know what I'm saying? He is a faggot. It was nice seeing him get beaten up. Damn shame watching a friend of mine, Robert Follis, try to coach this poor kid. You can only, no offense, but you can only polish shit so much. No offense to Robert Follis. He's a hero of mine. He's a legendary coach. But if he can't make you win your fight, if that ain't enough, you should quit MMA forever. Hang up the gloves, Brian Caraway, and back off of Misha. Word on the street.
Let's get to the post-fight press conference highlights, starting with Tom Wright, the UFC Managing Director of Canada. What the fuck?
The attendance tonight was 10,782, an absolute complete sellout. The gate was $926,000 Canadian. Bonuses,
Wow.
$50,000 each. Fight of the night was Chris Kalidas, Halifax's own, in his win over Patrick Holohan. And performances of the night to Olivier Aubin-Mercier and to Rory McDonald.
I didn't even know Canada had their own money. This is fucking preposterous. Next, we're gonna go to
That's the
Rafael
equivalent of
Asunciao.
$12.
Makes sense to me. Rafael Asunciao, who defeated Brian Caraway in the co-main.
It's a lot of mixed emotions coming into this fight. You know, it's a lot of pressure. Like I say, I mean, 7-fight win streak is not easy a lot of times. You know, so I gotta be humble enough to get in the gym and trying to improve, even though I'm winning those fights. You know, it's not easy a lot of times.
And we wrap it up with the winner of the main event, Ho He McDonald.
Tonight I felt at my best, and I was really flowing out there. I had a great training camp. All the guys that fought tonight, we all worked really hard together, and we all came focused, and we came away with victories. And I couldn't be happier. I beat some really good guys this year, and I think beating a guy like Tarek, I said it in many interviews, he's one of the best in the world in the welterweight division. And I feel like I had a good fight against him tonight, and hopefully the UFC takes notice and puts me for that title shot so I can bring it back here to Canada.
Rory McDonald wants to bring the title back to Canada. Canada has no belt since GSP gave it up. We are about to talk about whether Rory should get a title shot, but first we got to play the drop. Let's get to the news, people. And that biggest bit of news coming down the wire the last couple days is that Rory has earned a title shot, beating Tarek Saffiedine. He will take on the winner of Johnny Hendricks and Robbie Lawler. The rematch, if he fights Robbie, that will be another rematch. If he fights Johnny, that's a fight that hasn't happened yet. But, all of your thoughts on Rory getting a title shot, because this has been a very long road for him. He hasn't gotten a title shot yet. He's been in the UFC since 2010. And really, since 2011, a lot of, MMA writers, fans have talked about him eventually getting that shot. It's taken a few years. The loss to Condit backtracked him a little bit. The loss to Lawler, he was maybe a fight or two away from getting a title shot, but the loss to Lawler maybe delayed him another year. But he's won 3 in a row now. He's finally gotten a title shot. And what are your thoughts as far as has he earned it? Should he fight again before he gets the title shot? I think he totally has earned it. The guy's 8-1 since June 2010, and that's 8-1 in a very, very tough weight class. The loss to Robbie Lawler. Lawler definitely won, but it wasn't that one-sided of a beatdown. I'm really interested to see how he would match up against Lawler, year and a half later, how he'd deal with the wrestling and KO power of Hendricks. Do you think he has a legit shot at either guy who will be fighting for that welterweight belt later on this year?
Rory McDonald, man. Does he deserve a title shot? In my opinion, no, he does not. But is he entitled to one? Is he entitled to one by birthright? He is the bastard son of GSP. All right, they're spawned out of the same gym. Even Dana was talking about how they used to live together like fancy boys, but that's not our business here on this podcast. That's not our agenda tonight. But by birthright, Rory is entitled to a title shot. But has he really done enough to deserve it? I mean,
who deserves it above him currently?
BJ? Well, that's the thing with this division. How much time you got? I could name plenty that have it before him. The
You
only
have
reason
Tyron, Condit, Matt Brown, Lombard, Maya, Ellenberger, Safadine, Kim, Gastelum, Story. I'm just reading down the UFC rankings after Lawler and Rory at 1 and 2.
Yeah, well, thanks for spoiling the UFC for the next 2 years. But yes, Kelvin Gastelum is going to become the champion, but we're not talking about that right now. I can't, you and I both know that I can see. The future is not for Rory McDonald. He is entitled to this shot. All right, he's going to get it only because GSP dropped the belt willingly. And the UFC just basically gave it to the first people that were healthy enough to fight and pick up the scraps. Hendricks, Lawler, and the fights weren't even that great. I'm sorry, they weren't that great. Think about it. Can you remember even one highlight from those fights? Nah, I'm sorry. It's time for Rory to come in. They're going to job it out. Obviously, after Lawler and Hendricks whoop each other's ass, whoever wins that fight, I mean, it's going to take years off their lives. It's just going to be an easy setup and knockdown for Rory McDonald. And GSP coming back to face Rory. If that happens, of course, everyone's going to go crazy. It's going to sell a million pay-per-view buys, but it will be the biggest work in the history of MMA. But that's also jumping ahead. But yeah, Roy, entitled, not deserving of the title shot. Short answer. Sorry.
So out of all of these guys, who do you think is the best welterweight in the UFC?
Kelvin Gastelum, but of course, see, he's not entitled or deserving of a title shot at this moment. Even me, being a friend of his and one of his biggest fans and life coaches, and even that, I can't say that he should be champion right now. He should be fighting Hendricks for the title. No, but I'm also saying the same thing about Rory McDonald. He doesn't deserve it either. But who does? Hendricks probably should be defending it at this point. But really, I think there's a case for, even though, coming off a loss, seeing what Matt Brown can do. Because what we want to see are the exciting title fights. We don't want to see Hendricks Lawler again. Nobody actually really wants to see this fucking fight again. That's the bottom line. And hopefully this is the last time they ever fight. It's going to be as boring as the first. And I know I'm right. I believe that. And you should too.
Do you believe?
I believe, and that's the bottom line.
Another guy who recently fought, Cody Gibson. He lost to Manny Gamburian in a video surfaced recently of Cody getting in a bar fight with some dude, and right before they get in a fight, which is pretty funny because you can't hear it via audio, but the guy punches him in the face and just doesn't even fade Cody, and then he shoots the takedown and seemingly whoops his ass. But listen to what he yells at this guy at the bar before they get in a fight. He just so you can listen for it, he asks him to Google him to figure out who Cody is.
Oh, dude, this guy looks crazy. Dude, this guy looks like he's coked out there. Google me. I'ma Google him. Oh, dude. Yeah, let me get this real quick.
And that's when the fight gets to the ground and Cody takes him down. I've seen a lot of mixed comments on it. A lot of people just saying it's funny and that Cody has the right to say Google him, bitch, because you literally can Google Cody Gibson and his face will pop up and it will say he's a fighter. But a lot of people also saying that that's a douchey move, just saying Google me. I think Floyd Mayweather recently had a video released of him saying the same exact thing to a woman at a barbershop who was giving him shit. Is that a douchey move? Ramses, you've been in, I'm sure, dozens, if not hundreds of bar fights in Austin, Texas. Have you ever told someone to Google you before you get in a fight?
This is one of the most basically, Cody Gibson, I believe he should be immediately cut by the UFC, banned from fighting any sort of mixed martial arts competition by all the athletic commissions. Maybe I know I didn't see him strike back. I think he did a takedown in response after he was, punched in the face like a bitch. I believe he did take the other guy down, so I hope I hope the guy presses charges. Basically, Cody Gibson has humiliated himself, the sport of mixed martial arts, the UFC organization, the whole entire fighter mystique, the fighter aura, has been damaged by this embarrassing incident. Egging a civilian on to punch you in the face, keeping your hands dropped down low like a fool, and then getting clocked, almost nearly knocked out and dropped by some drunken fool, some random untrained fool. This was a disaster,
Do you think Cody was drunk?
PR disaster. Of course he was. But what was he thinking, man? Like, I've never been drunk enough to say to someone, hit me in the face and my hands aren't even up. I've never been that drunk.
No one's going to fight someone in a wheelchair.
Listen, the wheelchair thing will be addressed tomorrow's on the Word on the Street podcast. Tune in live. But for now, I'll say that Cody Gibson. Let's stick to the real meat here. Cody Gibson is a disgrace, and he should be cut, fired. I hope if there were women around, maybe if he had a girlfriend or a wife, I don't know what his situation is. I hope they leave him, because this is just shameful. He got punched by a civilian, by a simp. All right, World Star Hip Hop is laughing their ass off at Cody Gibson. Check the comments. Google me, bitch.
For Cody.
Google me, bitch. Find me on Facebook. Linked me in, motherfucker. This was embarrassing. Google me, bitch. I'm sorry, you're not gonna live that down. It doesn't matter if he whoops GSP's ass tomorrow. He's still gonna be the Google me, bitch guy. That's even worse because it made it to TMZ. It's even worse than Let Me Bang Bro. He's worse status than that. And that's all I'll say, because I could go on all night just pointing out the disaster that is the legacy of Cody Gibson. Word on the street.
It was garbage.
That's right. And if you do want to listen to the Word on the Street podcast, you might notice it's changed from Tuesday to Thursday, and both shows have been moved an hour back for our convenience. Picked up another job, picking up some quick scrap, working for a political campaign actually in Denver. But you know what? That's not what this show is for.
Happened,
I'm not going to share what side of the stick I fall on, who I'm helping out. But yeah, I may as well tell them.
Tell them what happened, man.
Killed a dog in front of its owners. It was a sad affair, man. It was a busy, 6-lane street, 3 lanes going each way. It was 9:15, so not many cars out on the road. But, the speed limit's 45, so I'm going 40, 45. And this dog apparently had just been washed. And, man, that part of it really kind of broke my heart, because, my dog growing up, a yellow lab, he also would get super riled up. If you've had a dog, they get really rambunctious after you wash them. And apparently this dog just bolted out, and this first second I mean, it sprinted out. In the first moment I saw it, it was in front of my driver's side headlight. I ran it over, pulled over to the side of the road, and actually it was, I sort of explained to my roommates, it was one of the most, like, conflicting feelings I've ever felt, because on one hand, the owners were there, the owners saw it all, and it was two dudes and a chick. And immediately I pull over to the side of the road, I think to like a Pep Boys, which was closed. And these guys are sprinting across the road. So on one hand, I'm so sad and sorry and apologetic, even though, this was not my fault. I was looking at the road, going the speed limit. This is, the dog / the owner's fault, and I'm not saying, I'm blaming myself for that, but obviously I still feel very sorry because dogs are fucking awesome, and to kill a dog, and, I mean, the owners are right there. It's obviously, my fucking hands are violently shaking because I'm just like, what the fuck? And these guys who I feel so sorry for, and I just want to hug and be like, I'm so sorry. I might have to, like, try and punch him in the face to defend myself, because if someone killed my dog right in front of me, I would be very fucking emotional. But luckily they were super understanding, and we exchanged numbers and names and all that, and they had to put the dog down. But man, some crazy fucking shit, man. You gotta watch out. And people, honestly, if you're listening, my insurance didn't cover it because I didn't have comprehensive coverage, which covers stuff like theft, vandalism, weather, hitting an animal, etc., etc., etc. Pick some of that shit up. It cost me an extra $100 for 6 months. But Jesus Christ, it's worth it. I wish I would have had it because I got a big old crack in my bumper and my insurance isn't going to cover it. And I'm not going to be a super fucking dickhead and go after the dog's owners to try and get them to pay for a new bumper because they've been through enough shit. But, the car is still drivable. I'll probably put it off for a month or two before I get it fixed.
All right, I got a question, man.
Yeah. And if you want to call or tweet, the number is 213-457-3380. You can tweet us at the MMA Podcast with any dog murdering related questions.
Yeah, Jake, I'm not trying to tug at your heartstrings or anything, or, bring up painful memories or feelings or emotions. I don't understand these things. But I'm just out of curiosity. I like knowing details about fucked up events.
Oh, God.
Do you happen to know the dog's name?
It was Molly.
Molly, so it was a female dog.
It was a female dog. It was an adult. I honestly, at first, I didn't know if it was like a small deer or a coyote. It was like this brown dog, maybe, I don't know, 40, 50, 60 pounds, maybe like 50 pounds. And it went over went under both of my driver's side tires, which I looked back at it for a second, and it was gnarly bones, and it broke its back and legs. The dog survived the initial strike. Yeah, it was like crying and howling and blood everywhere and bones sticking out of the dog. And they wrapped the dog up in a blanket. One of the guys, I guess.
Why didn't they?
Yeah, one of the guys wrapped it up in a blanket and brought it to a vet, and then had it put out at the vet.
They took that long. Oh no.
Yeah, like, I was talking to my buddy saying, like, I mean, it sounds shitty, but I wish I would have killed it running it over because it went through quite a bit of agony. But
you honestly should have backed over it, man. I know, it's ridiculous, but I mean, like, if anybody gets over the shock and ridiculousness of that statement, like, shouldn't he? He should have backed up and... Like, that was... What other method could you have used to end the dog's suffering?
What do you think the owners would have done if I, like...
the car again.
What do you think the owners would have done if I would have just thrown it in park, thrown it in reverse, go back over it, throw it in drive, go over it a third time, and just drive into the distance?
You should have just explained to them, just been like, look, there ain't... The dog is in too much pain. The easiest way, and then like, honestly, like, you should have tried logic at least, is what I'm saying. But instead, I guess this dog had to suffer for an extra 30 minutes to an hour, just broken and ripped in half. Not by your doing, Jake. This had nothing.
I have a
this
tire
wasn't your
iron in
fault,
my
man.
trunk. I do have a
Wasn't your
tire
fault.
iron in my trunk.
See, even that's even more ridiculous than the tire again. Like, you have a heavy car there, you can just run it over and that's it. Like, honestly, you have to be practical when it comes to these matters sometimes, man. I know that's too deep. I know you feel bad, man, but honestly, this wasn't your fault. We've all run something over, killed some sort of insect or animal. I used to go in wars against ant hills, literally, just like throwing down like smart bomb. Like, I would create bunker busters. Like, I would use fireworks. I would be creative. Lighter fluid. I would come up with new ways to destroy ant hills from the bottom, from the core, like the army did. And Jake, I'm not saying that's what you did with this dog, but I sympathize. Word on the street.
Word on the street. We're talking about the dog I killed last night, but we do have a caller, 731 area code. I'm not sure who it is. Caller, how would you like to identify yourself? What the hell's going on?
Hey, it's Justice for NC. So how horrific would it be
Holy
if you
shit.
drove over it, backed up, drove over it again, it still wasn't dead? How much worse would it be if you just continuously have to go back and forth and it wasn't dying? You just really even further traumatized that family.
I back it over and run it over like 5 times. It still isn't dead. I'd probably need to pull over, get out the tire iron, and just bash the dog's head until it was mashed potatoes all over the road. You know what I mean?
Imagine how viral that clip would go on YouTube, though, and World Star. You just
The apology
refuse.
would be quite different.
Yeah, fuck the apology, man. Nah, oh Jesus, there aren't enough. Why isn't that a viral fad on World Star or YouTube? Like, people's dogs getting run over. I'm sorry, Jake. I know it's too soon.
Bong rip for Molly. Shout out, rest in peace,
but it's
dog.
like Bigfoot.
You
Like,
stupid
it
ass
doesn't-
dog.
It doesn't get captured on tape that often. People's dogs getting run over. I can't even think of one video I've seen of it. But
I'm
yeah,
thankful that's not viral.
justice for Anthony Comia, man.
Yeah, this is
Love the
Justice
name.
for Aunt C calling up.
Love the name, love the cause, man. I'm digging the show.
yeah.
I'm a subscriber to the man. I have tried to call in every single day of his show and have not made it on yet. Even though I was a regular caller back when Anthony Cumia was doing the original Live from the Compound broadcast. It's a damn shame. I can't even get through to him anymore. And I
The
pay
Anthony Cumia show. Sorry?
hundreds of dollars a month or a year. I don't even know how much it costs. I just pay it to be a
I
subscriber.
think it's like $8 a month.
Yeah, hundreds
So who-
every month. It's ridiculous.
Thousands.
Who's
It's as
this
much as
Danny
Fight
Go
Pass.
Lightweight? Danny Go Lightweight, the chick that was on there again today. Is she fucking Ann or fucking Colin or both or?
Oh, the redhead? She's
Yeah.
probably like whatever drug they're addicted to this month. Like, she's the one that's probably getting the hookup through one of her boyfriends. You never know
Fuck
what's
yeah.
going on in that house, man. Anthony
Anthony-
Cumia's doing it right, though.
That show, the Anthony Cumia show, gets the official endorsement from the MMA Podcast. Listen to it if you have not yet. But yeah, follow our boy who called up at Justice for Aunt C. What is on your mind as far as MMA is going? You know, the Rory title shot, a bunch of other stuff going on. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I agree that Rory probably doesn't deserve it exactly. He's I guess one of the best who could take it. But it's a bit boring, but he's definitely a top contender. I have a question about Mayhem Miller. So I was looking at South Park's Twitter feed, and he replied to one of their things, like asking what channel is the rerun going to come on. So I replied to him, not knowing it was him at first, because he has some odd name now, like Old Dirty Bastard is trying to go by that
Yeah,
name
he's
now.
lost his mind.
He's
Yeah, I was
absolutely
asking
insane.
about this. Is he going full troll, or is he just completely batshit now?
It's a decent question. You know, the guy has been known his whole life to be a troll and be wild, but the stuff he's doing now, it's going from like fun charade to disturbing. I don't know, I don't know what the fuck is going on with him. Ramses?
Coach Huey was on one of our shows.
Yeah.
And he told a story about Mayhem where and I hadn't heard it from anyone else, where Mayhem just showed up to an MMA gym that Coach Huey was frequenting at the time, and Mayhem apparently like tore the place apart, threw a fit, ripped down some sort of picture of himself and some other dude. I think he ripped out his own face from the picture or something, and then pissed all over it. I believe that was the story. I don't remember the details, but if that's coming from Coach Huey on just some that's like the shit that we didn't even hear about. Okay, like this dude is just on some other level, man. He lived the dream, but now he's like, it's like he wasn't even like that famous and it got to him is the weirdest part. So I love seeing where he's gonna go from here. I do believe that it's gonna land him in jail a few more. He's gonna get in trouble. Like whatever he does, like nothing good will come out of the future of Mayhem Miller. I'm willing to call that right now. But all we can do is try to warn people, but not really. But the most important thing is to just watch and laugh your ass off. And that's honestly, it's like a train wreck, car crash. You have to watch. It's horrible, but you're not gonna stop it. You have to watch. And God bless Mayhem Miller.
Follow our boy once again, Justice, the number 4, and C. Before we let you go, is there anything else on your mind? The upcoming fight between Chad Mendez and Jose Aldo. Who you got in that one?
I do think Chad Mendez is going to get this time. Watch out for those knees. If he can work the wrestling and get past that third round, I think he can probably finish him because his striking's gotten so much better.
Definitely, brother. Well, thank you for calling in, and definitely call in on another show. We actually have another caller now, but yeah, Justice Francie, thanks for calling in, buddy.
All right, thank you. Peace out.
And trying to patch through our buddy who was calling in before. I think I put him on hold. Oh shit, I'm calling him back. We're getting the ringing and everything. It's a familiar face. We haven't heard from him in a while. He's been on many a MMA podcast, many a MMA roundtable.
What is Hood?
And you might know him as P Money. What's Hood, baby? What the hell is going on?
P Money.
Yo. You know what? I'm just pulling that late night shift, pimping bitches, stacking shit, doing the things the way they should be done, the way I was taught by my homies from the MMA podcast and the word on the street. What the fuck is good, gentlemen?
Yeah, and I don't know, have we had you on the show since Glory 17?
Sir, I do not believe so.
Yeah, we're sort of getting some inroads doing media with Glory and Glory 17 in LA, Last Man Standing. Our boy P Money was there doing it big. Before we get back to all of that MMA shit, I mean, first, shoot, you were there. You saw all of the fights, Wayne Barrett, Joe Schilling, all those exciting fights. What did you think of all that shit?
Oh, Jake, that was a fantastic day for combat sports. The Glory Last Man Standing event in LA, it was amazing. The 8-man one-night tournament for the welterweight title. There was a 4-man one-night featherweight tournament. 3 belts were on the line overall. We had MMA and kickboxing legend Mirko Cro Cop actually getting the W in competition, which is fantastic to see. It was a great night of fights, especially if you like the striking arts. It was just fantastic. these guys really, they can crack. And the precision is just astounding. These guys, the most amateur guys opening the card, you would think would just absolutely tool some of the higher end strikers in MMA. It was a great night overall, and it was just a fantastic experience.
Fuck yeah, and the next event's actually going to be in Oklahoma City. I'm going to drive 9 hours, and I will be there on November 7th. It's going to be a stacked card. Fights are still being announced, so I don't want to jump the card there. But I'm going to find a nice corn-fed Oklahoman lady of the night, and it's going to be decent times. I might actually go to a Sooners game too. I think they have a game in Norman the day after, because that Glory card's going to be on a Friday night, subbing in for Bellator on Spike, because there's not going to be a Bellator that week. But it's going to be a stacked card, because Glory hasn't done a card since that Glory 17 Last Man Standing card in Los Angeles a couple months back. But really, you haven't missed much. We are about to move on, but really quick, the one sort of talking point of the week that I do want to get your 2 cents on before we move forward is Rory McDonald winning that TKO, I think in the 3rd round against Tarek Saffiedine. I think he has earned the shot. Ramses doesn't think he has earned the shot, or does think he has earned it, but doesn't deserve it over a lot of these guys. You have to break the tie. Is Rory the best welterweight in the UFC behind Johnny Hendricks and Robbie Lawler?
Jake, if Rory McDonald is the best welterweight in the UFC, behind Robbie, behind Johnny Hendricks, behind anybody, if he's better, it's because he's an alien-human hybrid. I know Ramsey and I have kind of beat that. We beat that horse to death. Honestly, right. And I got to give props to Rory, not just because his MMA game has been improving, but because his ability to blend in and hide his alien-human hybrid identity, he's made some strides. He used to come out and just be the emotionless sociopath that we all, frankly, despise for his paint drying like character, but he's actually emoted a little bit as of recent, and it's kind of scaring me a little bit more. I'm thinking that this could be, maybe his hosts or something, maybe the mothership beamed a signal into his body that was like, this is, it's time. It's right. I mean, it's time to stop laying low. The time to overthrow everything is nigh. So I believe that that's largely what the credit to his improvement in his game is. And I'll be honest, what we saw from Rory McDonald and what we've seen as of late, including the Tyron Woodley performance, he's looking like a dangerous dude. Again, I'm not saying it's that reptilian DNA, but I'm just saying, he's looking hungry though. He's hungry for human blood and to best the human mortals in the sport that we created. And I pray to God that doesn't happen, but we will see.
I definitely think he has earned his shot against the winner of Johnny and Robbie, but at the same time, I don't know if I could see him beating either guy. Do you see him riding this streak and taking the belt?
Man, that's the tough question, Jake. Rory has really he's pulled almost a Dillashaw-like renaissance in his career. Rory, even when he burst onto the UFC scene in his debut, he showed a lot of well-roundedness in his game, but nothing spectacular. It's jack of all trades, master of none. Rory has really turned it on, especially in the footwork department. That's really what I like best about what he's doing. And again, he's not there 100% all the way around, but gosh, I'll tell you what, if he can use those angles, if he can use that reach, if he would have a reach against Robbie, I'm not sure. Johnny, I could almost guarantee he would have height, reach, every kind of stature advantage in that respect. I think there's a possibility. With Johnny, of course, you have to worry about that grinding style. The wrestling credentials, of course, for Hendricks are through the roof. Hardly anybody can touch his credentials in the UFC, but I think it's possible with Rory, and especially with some of the bigger upsets we've seen as of late, you certainly can't count him out, especially in his recent form.
Yeah, the Rory of 2014 really seems to be a lot different than the Rory of 2013. A lot more sort of on the offense. You know, the win against Jake Ellenberger was a hell of a snoozer, and he had the fight against Robbie at UFC 167 where he just wasn't on offense at all. And then he went out and he beat Maya. He absolutely smoked Woodley, a fight that a lot of folks thought that Woodley was going to take. Rory didn't just win that fight. He fucking smoked him. He finished Tarek. I really think he's earned the shot. But, I don't know, man. Robbie is on a tear. I'm really interested to see how Johnny looks, you know. I think he beat GSP at that same card where Rory lost to Robbie. The fight against Lawler was really close. That fucking rematch is going to be incredible. But let's move on. We talked about Cody Gibson getting in a bar fight, saying "Google me, bitch." Which really quick, just a 5-second answer. Is that a douchey move to say "Google me, bitch" if you're about to be in a fight and you're a UFC fighter, or are you justified to say that?
Oh no, that's among the douchiest of moves that you could possibly pull. I was very high on Cody Gibson as a young prospect, but my praise has turned to loathing quite quickly with just that utterance.
Yeah, I think a lot of us feel the exact same way, but I'll bounce it right back to you, Pat. Miesha Tate. We haven't talked about this topic yet. She was voicing that she'd like to fight Kat Zingano if Kat wasn't going to get the next title shot, but all signs are pointing to Kat getting the next shot against Ronda Rousey. So the last couple days, it's sort of been leaking out that Miesha's next fight seems to be that it's going to be a fight against Sarah McMahon, a tough wrestler. Miesha, I do think she's a top 10 women's bantamweight, but that fight against Rin Nakai in Tokyo just I don't know, man. I think she's a top talent, but Sarah McMahon is a hell of a wrestler. I'm sure she's really thirsty to get back to a title shot spot. Miesha will probably be favored, but I'm sort of leaning towards Sarah here. Do you think Miesha takes it, or is this going to be Sarah McMahon's fight?
Wow, that's a tough fight to call. Here's what I'm thinking with the Miesha Tate Sarah McMahon fight. Miesha Tate does not have the wrestling credentials Sarah McMahon does. That's obvious. Few women in the world do. However, Sarah McMahon, her grappling skills overall have a long way to go. Now, I think Sarah McMahon may be able to get the takedown if she can stay heavy, do the lay and pray, get some top position. That's her route to go. I do not really like her jiu-jitsu work, though, old Sarah. She needs to step that up a little bit. And that's where I think the difference is. Tate, she's got her submission game down. That's something that's been her bread and butter for the duration of her career. From, what was it, her 4th round submission over Marloes Kuhn, I believe it was, back at the Strikeforce days. She's always had that. So McMahon, she has the wrestling edge, but the overall grappling I have to give to Tate. And you know what? As much as I love to talk shit on Tate, which is a lot, I have to give her credit. She's finally won in the UFC, guys. I think she may have upwards of 2 wins in a row. So, I'm proud of her. Well, not really, but hey, good for her. Man, that's a real tough fight. I think I have to give it to McMahon, though. I just think McMahon might be able to do enough just to neutralize. I don't know that she'll really be able to put on any kind of big definitive win, any kind of statement type of performance here, but I think she could grind out Miesha. That's what I'm predicting for this one. A snooze fest of a UD for McMahon.
Hell yeah, I think it's gonna be close either way because both of them are really staunch wrestlers. This very well could turn turn into a battle of who has the better striking. And I think Tate might actually edge out McMahon there. Ramses, if you do follow him on Twitter at the Aunt Jimmy Show, you would know that he and Misha have had an on-again, off-again relationship. I'll try and set the mood the best I can, but what do you think about Misha's prospects against Sarah McMahon?
I've heard people say that.
Yeah, well, me and Misha,
too
man.
much of anything is not good for you, baby.
It goes really deep. It's hard to explain.
I don't know.
But basically, this girl is crazy out of her mind.
We've shared love.
I try to do what I can. If you noticed, I went up against. I did whatever I could to sabotage her relationship with Brian Carroll.
It's just not enough.
I was unsuccessful, however. But people, Misha, if you hear me, girl, you gotta listen. You gotta listen to her, baby. Can you feel it? Yeah, you're gonna whip Sarah McMahon's ass, but honestly, nobody gives a shit about a women's MMA fight unless one of the fighters is Ronda. Sorry, Misha. She did a great job against that weirdo Japanese anime girl. That was a badass fight. She beat her to a pulp. That was entertaining. She gave the fans what they wanted to see. But, yeah, she's still dating that Brian Caraway guy. And I believe that it's going to affect her fighting eventually. And for that reason alone, Misha, you got to separate from this guy. I'm just trying to help you here. I have no ulterior motives. Leave Brian Caraway. This is just the word on the street, but I have a friend that was in Japan, just hanging out, relaxing in the sauna with a couple of fighters. And Brian Caraway was there. And so was allegedly Cody McKenzie. And it got real homo. And I'm sorry to bring this up on the MMA podcast. I'm sorry to drop this truth on you guys. But I just want everyone to know what's actually going on out there. And tell you the truth, Jake, I forget the question, but I love Misha Tate. I hope she leaves this guy in her next fight, which doesn't matter against Sarah McMahon. I guess I hope she whips Sarah McMahon's ass based solely on the fact that she is more physically attractive.
Wow. The other big fight announcement of the week was that Joe Lauzon. Originally, we thought Conor McGregor might be fighting Diego Sanchez, but it's going to be Joe Lauzon and Diego Sanchez. Two Fight of the Night kings. This has Fight of the Night, Fight of the Year, Fight of the Decade, Fight of the Millennium, Fight of whatever the fuck written all over it. This is going to be a hell of a war, and it is official for UFC 180 in Mexico City. P-Money, how pumped are you for Joe Lauzon taking on Diego Sanchez? This is going to be a war.
You know what? I would be more pumped for any fight that Diego Sanchez is not in. I'm sorry. I know he's got the quote-unquote fan-friendly style. He comes to bang, this and that. The dude is so washed up. Diego Sanchez is washed the fuck up. When was the last time he even legitimately won a fight? He's gotten so many gifts.
Luigi Fiorentini?
Oh, Fioravanti or?
Yeah, whatever that guy's name is.
Yeah. Oh my God. See, that's we're talking what 12 years ago, something like that. I mean, he should rightfully be like 0-10 in his last 10 fights or some shit.
Yeah,
it's just
his last finish was June 2008 against Luigi Fioravanti.
Oh wow, and that's probably the last legit win he's got. Because let's face it, I mean, the last couple times it's gone to the judges in his favor. It really shouldn't have.
Pearson, Gomi, Campman.
All atrocious judging. I don't know how Diego still has a job. And you know what? The only thing, really, I would love this fight if I were confident that Joe Lauzon could put Diego away. Just put him out of his misery. You know, if he comes out and has the kind of performance he put on against Melvin Gillard, you know, a couple straights, drops him a couple times, gets the sub real quick, I would love for nothing more to see that, because just put Diego out of his misery. He's got no business in the UFC. And the only thing I don't like about this fight is that I feel there's the potential Diego could win, because I don't think that Lozon has the pop in the strikes to drop him. Diego's got a good chin. In spite of all the fucking ass whoopings he's taken over the years, he's still got a fucking a diamondite chin. It's fucking ridiculous. And of course, we all know Diego and his style: pressure, swinging wild fucking hooks that are just going to hit air. But the forward pressure looks good to the judges. So I'm really nervous for this fight, because I'm fucking tired of seeing Diego Sanchez. I want him out of the UFC. Let's make some room for some new blood, please, fucking God.
Our boy Justice for Ant C tweets in, based on media scoring, Diego has a 1-8 record in his last 9 fights. That is fucking wild. He's 10 of his last 11 fights have gone to the judges' scorecard, the only exception being the 5th round doctor stoppage to beat BJ Penn at UFC 107. You know, he has an exciting style, but it's ironic that all these fights, they never get stopped. They all go to a decision, usually one that Diego loses or should lose. Ramses, your thoughts on Diego Sanchez in this upcoming fight in Mexico City that's going to be headlined by Kane versus Fabricio, where it's going to be taking on the fight of the night champion, the bonus champion, Joe Lauzon.
Yeah, well, you can't say that this fight will be worked, because there's absolutely no reason to do so when you have 2 actual real fighters going at it. I won't even insult them. Diego Sanchez is the real. So is Joe Lauzon. I mean, he spends a lot of time on the internet, but he's an actual human being. This one's going to come down to whoever's bleeding the most by round 3, I believe. I'm calling a cut stoppage. I'll go that far. It's going to be a battle, knockdown, drag out. Doesn't matter who you burn if you're the UFC. This is one of these nobody loses fights. It's all for the fans. These guys are going to slug it out. Lozon's going to try to submit Diego, but honestly, would have to look it up. But has Diego even been submitted more than once or twice? I don't even know. So it'll be a fun fight to watch. I believe in this fight. I support it. I will watch it. It's exciting to me, and that's rare. So this is a job well done for the UFC. I look forward to it. If I had to bet money, I'd go Lauzon, but you never know. Diego might cut him up real bad. Dude's Lauzon bleeds like a damn overeager girl that you took to prom. Word on the street.
And we got a few more topics to break down. We might have a fight tip if Ramses feels up to it. But real quick, as we do every week, let's get to the 10 solid seconds of sports where we break down all sports, not MMA. The NFL season now in full swing. Teams like the Cardinals and Chargers surprising people with their impressive play. The NHL season gets underway tonight. The hunt for the Stanley Cup is on. Kansas City, Baltimore, San Francisco, and sorry, P-Money, St. Louis are the 4 teams that remain alive in the MLB playoffs. P-Money's Dodgers getting knocked out, but the sports season in full swing. Let's move on. Kung Lee, he tested positive for HGH, but now questions are being brought up about the legitimacy of the test, the fact it wasn't done in a WADA testing atmosphere, this and that. As much as I want to believe that Kung Lee wasn't juicing, this is sort of a joke now. Like the UFC is spending a lot of money on these tests, and they are just sticking a colored stick in and guessing whether he tested positive or not. That guy was juiced to the gills. It was obvious. it's kind of just making this whole drug testing thing even more of a farce, with the Kung Lee people trying to say that it wasn't a legit test. But Pat, do you think we should listen to Kung's lawyers saying that the test should have been done in a more rigorous, more, I guess, more upstanding testing atmosphere, or should they just know their role on this one?
Oh, terribly sorry. You know what? This seems like some bullshit. Our good homie Kyle, aka K Pro, all the true homies around the way know what's up with K Pro. He broke it down pretty good days before we saw other articles coming out, like you had alluded to, Jake. Just the complete cheesy, I guess, would be the best way to describe the testing standards that the UFC conducted over there for the latest China event. Apparently, it did not adhere to World Anti-Doping Agency standards for HGH testing, which in and of itself, I mean, I didn't even know that they had any kind of way to test for HGH. And judging by a lot of the articles that have come out and what some quote-unquote experts have said as of late, it really looks like this was just kind of some bullshit. Could be a false positive. But Jake, as you had alluded to, we all saw those pictures of Kung Lee. Dude is in his 40s, looking just fucking ripped shit, fucking veins all just striated and everything. He's just, you know, I don't give a fuck if you got a full pump or not. Him coming in, posting that picture, compared to the way he was looking for the Rich Franklin fight, there was no comparison. I mean, if he was just in the gym for 2 years straight, even then, dude, you're fucking 40 years old. You're not supposed to look like that, and you're not going to look like that without some sort of outside performance-enhancing substance. I don't give a fuck if it's HGH or something you get from GNC. I think that fool was just dripping with juice, and I think that's the only reason he was even able to make it to the fourth round. If I don't know if the juice really helps you in that respect, but
it does.
I mean, there you go. It's you know, he's working on that cardio. Turns out all it helped was help him take a longer ass whooping. So
that is the only reason that Bigfoot Silva stayed in that fight against Mark Hunt.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. That fight would have been over a lot quicker. But yeah, as for Kung Lee, I don't know. I think in the court of public opinion, that motherfucker was juiced to the gills. But based on some of the scientific things we're hearing from these alleged experts, it sounds like he may have a good case for an appeal.
You make an awesome point. As our boy, the Deaf Frat Guy, would say, it's a JV all around. The testing standards were JV. But for them to act like Kung wasn't on the juice, come on, son. Ramses, what do you think about this fucking whole series of fucking hilarity and shenanigans and tomfoolery?
Well, at first, I wanted to bury Kung Lee, man. I hated him for being a cheater when the news dropped that he failed his drug test, allegedly. But now the story's getting deeper, and I always keep an open mind about everything. I don't even believe that this life is real. I actually believe that we're living a computer simulation at this moment in time. That's neither here nor there. We're talking about MMA, whether it be in this simulated world or not. But in this happenstance, Kung Lee has been popped for allegedly being on performance-enhancing HGH drugs. But he's defending himself. He's denying it. He's being adamant. And at first I thought, you know, this is just a typical episode of Cops. You know, when they get pulled over and you see the dope on them, like, they never admit to it anyway. There's always some sort of story. I thought Kung Lee was just coming up with the damn story. But it gets deeper. He says the testing was unprofessional. He called it into question. Now the lab that tested him can't even come up with a sample anymore. That's right. They threw away his piss. That's what it comes down to, all right? They threw away his piss, if you haven't heard the news. Therefore, I have to call it all into question. If I was in a court of law over some sort of legal matter and the cops just lost the evidence that was supposed to prove that I was guilty of a crime, I would also file an immediate appeal and have the case dismissed. And that's what Kung Lee is going for, and that's what he is entitled to. Does he deserve it? It's like the Roy McDonald title shot. Does he deserve it? No. Is he entitled to it? Yes, he is. Kung Lee, innocent until proven guilty in my mind. And the athletic commission, the testing, they fucked it up. And God bless Cody McKenzie. Word on the street.
Word on the street. Really quickly, Ramses, before we move on to the next topic, what did you think of that Keith Berry exciting split decision win this past Friday at Bellator 127?
I think all credit to Keith Berry, but let's face it, and I didn't bring this up when I interviewed him on the podcast, he was on a losing streak. He had been cut from Bellator. They brought him back for this one fight. I didn't bring it up. I wasn't like, man, he got cut. Well, I did ask him how he managed to get back on a Bellator card, but that was as close as I got to it. This man, this was one of his last chances at being a professional MMA fighter.
The last stand.
He pulled it off. He won, and it was a fucking war. It was a slugfest. He didn't try to take any shortcuts. He didn't quit. He didn't tire. He almost beat the record for the most strikes attempted in a Bellator fight.
Bellator middleweight fight.
Right, but that was in. You can give full credit to that. Honestly, in my opinion, well, not only to his heart, Keith Berry's heart, but the fact that he's being coached by Coach Jamie Huey,
who was yelling, "Stay active, stay active."
Exactly, and he was listening to his corner. He was listening to Coach Huey. In between rounds, he was listening to him. He kept going. He kept it standing. He two-pieced this guy, landed more strikes, just wore him down, didn't go for the crazy-ass knockout, didn't ever lose control or focus. It actually, if you watch the fight again, it was a boxing clinic. So shout out. Reaching out and working with Coach Jamie Huey is one of the best things Keith Berry's probably ever done. It was the pinnacle of this fight, in my opinion, aside from, of course, Keith Berry actually doing it and executing it. But he worked with a living legend, listened to his coaches, and he was an intelligent fighter because of it. And he won, and it was amazing. And I made a lot of money. God bless.
And we had Bellator over the weekend. We had 2 UFC cards, and we also had Battlegrounds MMA, where Roan Carnero defeated Brock Nelson in the finals of that 8-man welterweight tournament. I don't know if you caught it or not, but the biggest story wasn't who was fighting, but it was who was behind the microphone in the debut of the MMA broadcasting duo of Chael Sonnen and old JR, Jim Ross. Pat, were you able to catch it? Irregardless, what do you think of that duo between Chael and JR? Could that end up being a legendary MMA team, or do you think it's just going to be a sort of gimmick and not last too long?
You know what? I can only pray that pans out as a team, because Jim Ross, of course, as legendary. That's all you really need to say about Jim Ross. JR, that's all you need to know. And then Chael Sonnen, of course, that's the man you want behind the mic. So you put those two together. I mean, the only thing you got to worry about is who's playing rhythm and who's playing lead. They can't both be playing lead up there. So, as long as they can get that figured out, I think they can work some magic. I'm very excited to see how that dynamic works out. I mean, fuck, that's a winner.
I think it's obvious. You let the experienced old JR take rhythm, and let the man with the charm take the lead. Chael Sonnen and Ramses, I know you saw it. What did you think of the tournament, and what did you think of Chael and JR on the mic?
Oh man, this was a total dream come true for me as a fan of wrestling and, of course, MMA, and of Chael Sonnen and Jim Ross, 2 heroes of mine, commentating side by side on MMA. Like, it blew my mind. I still can't you can't really process that, but I watched it. It was excellent. Good old JR, he was treading new water. He's getting up there in his years, God bless him. But still, um, he's that comforting, familiar voice. You want to hear him call a match. If the fire is lit, he is gonna fucking describe it to you. He's gonna make the calls that he has to make. Unfortunately, in this 8-man tournament, battlegrounds, it was excellent. It was compelling. I watched the whole damn thing. But in an 8-man tournament, a lot of the early matches, the fighters are gonna work it out amongst themselves to not go for knockouts, not try to hurt each other. Not go too hard. Just the first two elimination matches. You want to just head into it with a light sparring mode, a gentleman's agreement. That's what happened. So, yeah, these fights weren't, you didn't see crazy ass knockouts and kill attacks and people going for blood. But at the same time, that worked out because it gave Chael and JR a chance to kind of sink into it, gel. After a while, JR did loosen up. Chael, of course, was immediately on point. His commentary was excellent. He proved that he could be basic and advanced, full-range commentator. He is one of the best in the business already. He cemented another legacy. Battlegrounds was cool, but when it's an 8-man, when it's an MMA tournament, elimination matches all in the same night, don't expect to see highlight reel finishes. These people are all thinking long term. They're thinking chess. So hopefully everybody kept that in mind and enjoyed the show. I loved it. I hope it happens again. They were the best commentary team. No offense to Anik and Kenny, and total offense to Brian Stan, however. But they were the best since Rogan and Goldberg circa 2008. Word on the street.
And sticking with old JR, final topic of the night, unless we get any more callers. News is coming out. Apparently, someone at Fox Sports is saying that Brock Lesnar is thinking about returning to the UFC next spring when his contract with the WWE expires. And good old JR weighed in with Fox Sports saying, it looks to me like he's gotten back on track. He looks phenomenal strength-wise. He's just scary looking. He's more scary looking than he was before he left the WWE the first time. I could identify with that diverticulitis and diverticulosis. It's not something you heal from very quickly. Your body has to make major adjustments. I see no reason why he couldn't have the potential to return to the UFC and sell pay-per-views. Pardon me. Pat, this is a story that has come out of a few times, and it normally just fizzles out. But do you think there is a legit chance that Brock Lesnar comes back? And if he does, could he actually make another run at that title?
Legit or not, I can only applaud the news sources that have started to report this breaking development. So now, April 2015, when Brock Lesnar's WWE contract is up, there's a potential he may return to the UFC. Whether he does or not, that's a solid 6 months of media coverage and increased media traffic and web traffic for all these different news outlets. So well played to everybody who picked this one up. That's a very, very crafty clickbait there. Yeah, fantastic. Anyhow, I think it's fucking bullshit. I don't think he's coming back. He got smoked by Kane. He was getting smoked by Carlin. He got beaten to retirement by Overeem, who we last saw getting knocked out by Ben Rothwell, for God's sake. Brock Lesnar has the tools. I mean, for fuck's sakes, multiple-time NCAA Division I heavyweight wrestling, amateur wrestling champion. The credentials are all there, best credentials in the UFC's heavyweight division, probably all of the heavyweight division of mixed martial arts. And he needs to learn how to box. He needs to learn how to kickbox. He has a good chin. People think he has a bad chin, but that's not the case. His chin is rather impeccable. It's that he's got a bitch heart. And last time I checked, that's hard to fix. You got to learn how to box. You got to learn how to take one because he's got the chin. I've never even seen his legs really rock. But he gets hit once, and he starts fucking tumbling around, back somersaulting. Fuck the diverticulitis. If he fixed that little bitch heart, then we're good to go. But, I don't think this is going to happen. This is just marketing for WWE, UFC. It's good for both parties. It's good for the outlets that are covering it. Whether or not anything even comes from this, everybody's making money. So that's what this is right here.
Hamzas.
Yeah, this is according to all my indicators, this is total bullshit about Brock Lesnar coming back to the UFC. Honestly, he is currently, for what it's worth, the WWE heavyweight champion of the world. So that, of course, indicates he's still under contract with WWE. He's got to fight, quote, fight. Well, he's got to wrestle at WrestleMania in about 5 or 6 months. So, is he going to sign with the UFC and take a fight before WrestleMania where millions of dollars are at stake for him showing up healthy? No. So, that's all. I don't even need to speak anymore. This is total bullshit. Use common sense and logic. It's not going to happen. Brock Lesnar ain't coming back. Alistair Overeem retired his ass. That's the word on the street, and it is the bottom line.
You got a fight tip for us, or are we going to send this shit out?
I just want to tell everybody out there to just embrace peace and love each other. And shout out to my Twitter girls. Instead of teaching violence, I just wanted to say hi to Katie Bear, of course. Don't believe these rumors, Katie. I think you're really pretty. MMA Barbie, Lexi Natalia.
I just put 2 fingers in there, I searched around her asshole.
Elena.
I used to get a Korean chick that you would have to come on her face and then she would have to masturbate for her to come.
Jenny Friedman.
Nothing beat that dirty whore I used to date from Michigan, though.
And there's this girl that I'm working on here in Austin. Her name is Sarah, and thank you for your time, Jake.
You got what I need.
Yep. Looks like that's going to do it for tonight's show, the MMA Podcast 106. Thanks so much for tuning in. Visit the MMApodcast.com. Click the links at the top for the iTunes and the YouTube feed. Visit us on Twitter at the MMA Podcast. P Money. You're on Twitter at Sweet Pappy Jones. Anywhere else we can find you. Sign off with the people.
Well, Jake Ramses, it's been a pleasure. I always appreciate podding with you gentlemen and breaking it down and telling like it is for all these trick ass, thirsty ass, bust ass, suck ass, trick ass, all my asshole suckers. But no, it's Twitter at Sweet Pappy Jones, Instagram at Sweet Pappy Jones, everywhere at Sweet Pappy Jones and P Money.
Follow our buddies, Ross Finkelstein, E before the L, Westland Eagle, A.H. Yao, The Truth, C. Lowenstein, Ramses. Where do we find you? One more time, send it out.
Katie Bear, the rumors aren't true. My parts function. Can I take more than 10 steps? It's questionable.
He don't give a fuck!
But can I please you and transfer seed? That is definite. It's a yes. Word on the street, the Aunt Jimmy Show. On
Be gone!
And live and die for the love of this music. Compel a thrive when the times are the toughest and truest. Keep in mind when the universe gets aligned, the remnants of this verse are